My name is Saint Sevian. I'm here to share my thoughts on the Marilyn Manson lawsuit. Before you accuse me of blasphemy, you really ought to remember that you should always question your Manson. Let's begin. Number 1. The Heart-Shaped Glasses music video. There is one thing in common according to everyone's perspective that was on set, and according to certain viewers. The setting as a whole was unprofessional. Marilyn Manson paid Evan Rachel Wood for her appearance in the video. Some might say she was the highest paid actress to have ever appeared in a music video. Therefore that legally makes their dynamic employer and employee rather than lovers. This demands more from Manson that he did not offer. Instead it is said that Manson supplied her with drugs and alcohol. This is irresponsible. This makes Manson further responsible for what happens to her. To make matters worse, Evan Rachel Wood was underage at the time, when it comes to drinking. This adds on another penalty for Manson. If Manson did actually penetrate her, then that technically makes it rape since she was intoxicated at the time. Therefore she wasn't able to give consent. Let's also not forget what Devontae said when she watched the video. She mentioned that Evan Rachel Wood sounded like she was in pain, and that Manson had his wedding ring on and their marital bed made an appearance in the video. I don't think any of these things point to Manson being innocent. It points to him being a very calculated, irresponsible, and vengeful person. Most of unprofessional. Number 2. The checklist provided in the lawsuit doesn't prove that the allegations are fabricated. It leans towards proving that whoever created the checklist is trying to figure out if there were abuse and if there is a pattern. Also worthy to mention, the spouse box is checked. I wonder what that's about. Number 3. The alleged script is mostly unreadable. This hurts its validity and the claim of being evidence to support Manson's claims. It appears to be something that someone could have written in order to get their recall of their claims of abuse straight, because they are nervous about talking about it while the public is a part of their audience. You don't want to be long-winded about it, nor show an overload of emotion or whatnot. You want to say the important highlights you want to be heard at first. Everything else will come later. Number 4. The lawsuit claims that Illma Gore is the mastermind behind naming Manson as the abuser of the accusers, yet the public was not presented with the naming of Manson by Illma Gore. As far as the public goes, which would matter since Manson is suing for defamation, most of the public didn't know of the connection between Illma Gore and Evan Rachel Wood. And most importantly was not given the information of the allegations from Illma Gore. Therefore, most of the public was made aware of her involvement in all of this by Marilyn Manson himself before the documentary, Phoenix Rising, was ever released. The so-called impersonation of an FBI allegedly done by Evan claimed by Manson cannot be seen as strong evidence, including the attachment of the alleged fabricated letter supposedly written by the FBI and screenshot of the instant message. It should only inspire valid questions. Like, how did Manson get a hold of the screenshots? Should we then take the claim made by Dan Cleary that Manson has been known to clone people's cell phones and laptops as a means to blackmail people, as something worth considering? If Evan had a nickname Alabama when with Manson, should we assume she still goes by the nickname? Why is there no year provided in the timestamps of the messages? Who is Alabama speaking to? Why release these forms of evidence when the public cannot know for sure that it is what is being claimed? It is claimed that the agent whose signature is on the letter knows nothing of the investigation. Why should we trust that is truth before we observe the response to these allegations and the events that will unfold thereafter? Number 5. Why does Manson's lawsuit claim that Illma Gore is the one who is claiming that the videotape groupie has recorded alleged proof of Manson abusing and potentially killed the alleged minor? According to the public, no one claimed such thing. The only piece of source where groupie was mentioned aside from the mouth of Manson himself, the Jane Doe lawsuit. And if the public read through, clearly, on their own, they would have noted that the reason for bringing it up was to show that Manson had Jane Doe watch it for psychological torture. The only claim that was mentioned was that Manson would not provide a straight answer to the concerns of Jane Doe in reference to the seemingly young lady in the video. Jane Doe was led to be left with unanswered questions about the lady in the videotape, titled, Groupie. according to her lawsuit against Marilyn Manson. According to the public, no one is aware of Illma Gore making such rumors or claims. Most everyone is aware of the Jane Doe lawsuit. However, most fans of Manson took on the translation of that lawsuit done by Colonel Cutts as an absolute, which does paint Manson as being accused of abusing and killing the alleged minor in the videotape titled Groupie. However, this is only a very large assumption and attempts to distract the fans of Manson from the actual point of the videotape and viewing of the tape by Jane Doe, which was only done so to show the attempt to psychologically toy with the mind of the accuser. Number 6. The claim that Illma Gore swatted Manson by claiming to be a friend of him while calling to succeed in a wellness check is a very large attempt in reaching the public to further make her less credible. The fans of Manson should be insulted by the assumption that it would be believed by them, because there is a difference between swatting and calling for a wellness check. In fact, the vague difference made in the lawsuit could be seen as destructive for naive minds, because it could influence them to refrain from making wellness check calls on people that they themselves may not be friends with but still do not want their enemy to cause harm to themselves or anyone they may be sharing a home with nonetheless. The only thing that could be seen as similar to swatting would be the claim that there was a helicopter that arrived. But so far, there is no known credible reports of such. Only claims have been made by the media online. Apparently we are supposed to take his word for everything, and to never question his word or his evidence. This is the only way to be a fan of him? I think not. That's all I have for you folks. And remember, always question your Manson. To be truly supportive of him is to be inquisitive of his word and his character. He always inspired us to think for ourselves, including what we thought of him. Created by Saint Savine.